In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the potential risks and side effects of all of the disinfecting and sanitizing products that we have been using over the past couple of months, and whether or not this may impact our overall health and microbiome. Hi there, if you're new here, my name is Jessica, and here on my channel, we focus on all things mom life. So whether that's cooking, cleaning, or finding effective and efficient ways to take care of our families, but everything we do in my space does have a bit of a healthy twist, as I'm a holistic nutritionist and a nutritional practitioner. So if that sounds like something that you might be interested in, I would love it if you would take 2 seconds, open up the description box down below and hit the big red subscribe button. Now, before we get started, I want to just express that the information that I'm sharing with you in today's video is for educational purposes. You should always speak to your doctor or to your nutritionist or healthcare professional about your unique healthcare needs. Now, unless you've been in hibernation or asleep through 2020, you can probably guess that there is a worldwide shortage of cleaning and sanitizing products that are available for purchase in about every store. And now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of whether or not using bleach, Lysol, and some of these other sanitizing products are healthy, and any concerns that we may have on how these disinfectants actually affect our microbiome. A lot of concern around sanitation can be traced back to what we now know as the hygiene hypothesis, which is basically a correlation in the rise of industrialization and sanitation practices with the incidence of allergies and autoimmune diseases like type 1 diabetes, asthma, Crohn's disease, multiple sclerosis, and inflammatory bowel disease. Every day, our bodies are bombarded with hundreds of chemicals from things like paint, furniture, electrical goods, and even carpets. And many of these have been linked with things like headaches, allergies, asthma, and even more serious problems. Little changes can have a huge impact on the way you feel, and we spend on average 60% of our lives indoors and mainly in our homes. So in my professional opinion, I think it really pays to get it right. As the number of household cleaning products has jumped, so have the unsafe chemical combinations in those products. Most cleaning products that you buy from the store include a list of ingredients that are extremely harsh, like bleach and ammonias and acids, just to name a few. Store-bought cleaners can give off fumes that can irritate your eyes, your skin, and your lungs. Children and pets are particularly vulnerable to these chemicals. Some products also contain unnecessary antibacterial ingredients, and these have been directly linked to the growth of the antibacterial resistant organisms that are found in many of our young children's bodies. Now, back to the 1980s, an epidemiologist named Dr. Strawn found that the more children or humans that lived in a home actually subsided in children having less autoimmune diseases, allergies. So through his hypothesis and studies, we saw early infection typically pass through unhygienic contact between siblings and through pets actually led to a stronger immune system as these children got older. Now, given we know that this is definitely a hypothesis through his scientific studies, we're unsure if those children also played outside in the dirt, in the soil, and didn't wash with antibacterial soaps, which we know is very important. But our first line of defense is most definitely our immune system to fight bacteria and viruses. And just being conscious of when you should and should not wash your hands is also something we need to be mindful of back in the 80s and now. If you're in a home and you're petting your dog, you don't need to immediately have your children get up and wash their hands. However, if they're out at the grocery store with you, it is definitely something that I highly encourage you to do when you get home, is to thoroughly wash your hands. We just need to be mindful and actually monitor the significance of the situation, and healthy exposure to microbiomes, also known as bacteria, is extremely important in this hygiene hypothesis. So the reason I want to talk about clear guidelines and recommendations surrounding hygiene is important to know the strategies that we should use and implement in our children's lives. Now, as we're heading into the back to school season, many of us are very nervous about the cleaning products. Our children have been surrounded with harsh cleaning products. The potential of being exposed to these is high. So understanding the situation and knowing what to implement in your home is highly encouraged. To best protect our children's microbiomes from complications later in life, we know things like vaginal birth is highly encouraged, breastfeeding whenever possible, social exposure through things like sports, social interaction, outdoor activities, having cats and dogs in the home are all appropriate uses to getting exposed to healthy bacteria to build up their microbiome. Additionally, appropriate use of antibiotics versus constantly going to the doctor every time they're sick and having them put on antibiotics can lead to long-term issues with fighting bacteria due to the reduced gut microbiome. It is important to establish a healthy immune system, and for the most part, our children's immune system and ours is mostly trained by the age of 4. And so the key is to recognize low risk and high risk situations and when to use these agents and these compounds. However, Pureelling your kids' hands constantly when they're in the home is not a safe practice. So let's talk a little bit about disinfecting wipes and Lysol sprays and bleach sanitizers and how they actually affect us. If you look on these packages, the Clorox wipe containers actually say hazardous to humans and animals. So knowing that, we should be extra cautious and conscious of when we use these tools. If these agents enter into our body and not handled properly, it can definitely affect the overall antimicrobial load in the gut. And we want to have a strong antimicrobial load in our gut to fight off bacteria and viruses. We know that 70% of our immune system is in the GI tract and in the gut. So using these products on a consistent basis will lower the overall colonies. So the good news is that you can replace a lot of these synthetic products with non-toxic alternatives. There's definitely the ones that they have at the store, whether it's 7th generation or it's BioClean. There's a lot of non-toxic alternatives that are out there. And also, you can make some extremely inexpensive versions at home that are a lot less expensive and great eco-friendly alternatives. Homemade products like baking soda and vinegar and lemon are totally fine to use, but please note that these are technically not germicides. However, when you use something like hydrogen peroxide, this is an incredible tool to fight bacteria and viruses, as it does actually disinfect and kill those organisms. Essential oils have also been shown to have a positive impact on natural cleaning and disinfecting. And while the research surrounding essential oils is still young and there hasn't been a lot of expansive studies on it, we are seeing some really positive outcomes with things like tea tree oil and thyme at killing viruses and bacteria. So of course, please be sure to do your own research, but I love to use those two in our home. Of course, now if somebody in your home gets the flu or potentially a different virus, using those tools that we talked about early would be that time. It's just something to be conscious of and to do when your children aren't present. It's something that you can have in your back pocket, but not something that I recommend on a day in and day out basis, because we want to give our children the strongest immune system that they could possibly have and build up those healthy organisms in their gut. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and let me know in the comment section down below, what are your favorite eco-friendly and natural cleaning products that do an incredible job, that don't leave any harsh chemical smells or leave you feeling lightheaded? I would love to know, as I'm always looking to expand my own toolkit. And I want to thank you again. And if you like this sort of content, the subscribe button is right over here on the screen now. Give that a click. That way you don't miss a single video. And I hope to see you back here next Thursday.